What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and today, my friends, I wanted to put a build together based around the Diamondback exotic rifle. The thing is an absolute beast. Now, the main reason I wanted to put this build together now is due to the fact that two of the main components of this build, one of them being the actual Diamondback itself, is currently a guaranteed drop in the game. Now, for those of you that do not have the weapon as yet, it happens to be a guaranteed drop from Kenley College when you complete all the branches. Now, that is when the college is open. Now, it's open every other week, so if you happen to see this when it's not open, wait until next week and you should be good to go. And also remember, my friends, you can always farm for it wherever the rifle is the targeted loot, but again, this is a guaranteed way to pick it up. One of the other main pieces of this build is the named Walker & Harris body armor Chainkiller. It has the talent perfect Headhunter. Now, it is a guaranteed drop in Season 8 at level 70. Now, it may take you a minute to get there, but it is definitely worth the grind, and when we go over the build breakdown itself in a moment, I will give you another option to use. That way you can still put something together when you're farming for this piece. One of the things I always mention at the beginning of every build video I put together is I want to remind you this is just a template. There are so many different ways you can run with a build like this. Like I said, I'll go over a few different options, but the most important thing, my friends, is truly take your time and make a build your own. You know, you may look at this and decide you need more armor or you want less. Again, really cater a build towards your game style. As always, I'm starting off with a little bit of gameplay footage, then we're going to get into the build breakdown itself, and then at the end of the video, some more footage and a few tips for new and returning players, which should hopefully help you when you're trying out a new build for the first time. Now, you can see by the footage here, I'm at Lincoln Memorial, heroic difficulty, and I don't know about you, but for me in this game, one-tapping NPCs to the dome is so much fun. I mean, that last hit was 10 mil, this one's 13, and keep in mind, for those yellow bar elite NPCs with full armor, they max out at 9.8 million, so any headshot over 9.8 is going to take out most of the NPCs, so again, this weapon is definitely worth the grind. Starting off with the specialization, I'm using sharpshooter for a bunch of different reasons. You're getting some extra stability, extra headshot damage, you're going to get a little extra armor when you're in cover as well. Now remember, regardless of which specialization you choose, always make sure you have the proper weapons activated in your weapon skill tree. That way, regardless of which one of them you use, you get a 15% weapon damage bonus. The primary weapon for this build is obviously the Diamondback. It is so effective because of its talent agonizing bite. The Diamondback randomly marks an enemy. Hitting that enemy consumes the mark, guaranteeing a critical hit with damage amplified by 20%. After hitting a mark, all shots fired are guaranteed critical hits for 5 seconds. A new random enemy is marked afterwards and whenever you reload. My secondary weapon is the Test Subject AR with the talent perfectly in sync, and the reason why I have this equipped is in case I'm put into a group, you know, I use random matchmaking, I'm not sure of the situation I'm going to be in when I'm dropped into the actual gameplay. Therefore, I like having this weapon. You're going to be getting that weapon damage and skill damage bonus. Again, at that point, you can switch. However, whatever you want to put in the secondary spot is totally up to you. Moving on to the gear itself, you can see I'm running 1 Grupo, 2 Walker & Harris, 1 Providence, 1 Petrov, and 1 Overlord. Starting off with the mask, it's the one piece of Grupo we have equipped, so we get that 15% crit hit damage bonus, and pretty much on all of these pieces, I'm trying to stack headshot damage everywhere I can. I'm really not worried about my crit hit chance because of the talents on the weapon and on the chest piece. As I mentioned earlier, we are running with the named Walker & Harris body armor Chainkiller, which has the talent perfect Headhunter. After killing an enemy with a headshot, your next weapon hit within 30 seconds deals an additional 150% of that killing blow's damage. Damage is capped to 800% of your weapon damage. This is raised to 1250 if your headshot damage is greater than 150%. Now, for those of you that do not have the Chainkiller as yet, you can put the talent Headhunter on a piece of Walker & Harris. You could even put it on a piece of Providence. You're still going to put out a ton of damage. And as you can see by the comparison, the only main difference you're going to see between the two is that initial damage bonus after the first headshot. So you can see with Headhunter, it's capped at 125, and with Perfect Headhunter, it's at 150. Now, at the end of the video, I will show you a comparison of the two. Either one you have equipped, you can still one-tap enemies once everything is procced. Moving on to the holster, it's the second piece of Walker and Harris, so we get that 5% damage to armor bonus. Now with that middle attribute, crit hit chance, honestly I should have changed that to headshot damage, but I didn't want to waste the resources because I use this holster for a lot of different builds. Now moving on to the knee pads, you can see I have Fox's Prayer equipped because of that middle attribute, 8% damage to targets out of cover. Now what I've done with this piece is I've re-rolled the core attribute to armor because I wanted a little more survivability. You may want weapon damage, so again, you can really make this build accordingly to your game style. Another really great option for this build is Sawyer's knee pads, where you're going to get up to a 30% weapon damage bonus when you're in cover and you're not moving. It is just an absolute amazing pair of knee pads. So again, if you do have these, that's another good option. Next, we have the Contractor's gloves, and in my opinion, they are still some of the best gloves in the game because of that middle attribute, 8% damage to armor. And as we move on to the backpack, it's the one piece of Providence we have equipped, so we get that 15% headshot damage bonus, and I'm running with the Talent Vigilance, which increases your total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. Now, some of you may have the Gift Backpack, which is the named version of this, which has the Talent Perfect Vigilance. However, as you can see here, the only difference between the two bags is a 1 second cooldown. So with Perfect Vigilance, it's 3 seconds. With Vigilance, it's 4. So again, either one of these is totally fine for the build. As far as my skills are concerned, I'm using the Assault Drone and the Assault Turret. They're my go-to skills to use with a build like this. The reason I like them is they are a great distraction to NPC and put out damage as well. However, when it comes to these, you can choose any two you're comfortable with. And as I start to wrap this video up, one of the recommendations I have to new and returning players is anytime you're trying out a build, yes, you can go to the shooting range, you can see how it responds, but again, you're not hitting a moving target. I recommend going to a mission or control point that you're familiar with. That way you know the timing of the NPC and you can see how the build responds to your gameplay. I also want to show you, as promised, the difference between Perfect Headhunter and Headhunter. And again, my friends, once everything is procced, even when I switch from a piece of Walker and Harris to a piece of Providence, you're still going to be able to one-tap these things. So again, either one will work for this build. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about having this channel, putting together these build videos, is the family that we have here. So if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please let me know in the comments section down below, as the main goal is to try to help out in any way we can. With all that being said, I want to take a moment and thank you all for the amazing support of this channel. We've been doing live streams, we're doing build videos. I cannot wait for, obviously I'm doing the new stuff as well. I cannot wait for the new content. I'm going to be covering other games soon, so again, the fact that you are here sincerely means the world. Like I said at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well, but most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.